Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So I got an email. I'm going to read the email real quick and then we're going to get into this. So it says, "What's up, Mr. Locario? Just wanted to tell you I listen to you all the time and you've helped me so much with every video. So I've been working on my game and taking everything you say into consideration and putting it into practice. What I'm curious to get your opinion on is how to tailor your game. I'm a 5'8" black male with pretty decent looks and average game. I go out and approach women and sometimes it works and others it doesn't. What I want to know is there a way to begin to understand how I can study my progress in order to understand what works for me and what doesn't work? Like, am I being too aggressive or not aggressive enough? I'm doing something I'm unaware of that may be affecting how women perceive me. I know that you advise not to worry about looks, money, etc., but I do think there's a formula or secret sauce that one has to attain in the game. So my question is, what steps are necessary to get to that point? How do you assess and promote or get rid of certain things to fine tune your game?" All right. So this is a good question, actually, because when you're out here in the game, right, and you guys out there listening, you got to understand that you have to look at what's working for you and what's not working for you. And you have to be able to basically tailor your game to get what you want, right? And the thing is that, when you're out here dealing with chicks and talking to girls and all this other stuff, it's very important to see what's working so you can continue to do that, and then see what's not working, and so that you can basically stop doing those things that's not working, right? And what I want guys to understand is that when you're out here making stuff happen, you have to realize that there's not just one way to do something. You understand? There's not one way to come at the game. And I think a lot of guys get confused and they're looking for, like, even in the email you were saying, I feel like there's a formula, there's a secret sauce or whatever to make something happen. But the thing is that what you need to understand is in your game, you have to be versatile. Right? So that means that you got to be able to switch it up. You got to be able to know when to do this, when not to do this. You got to be able to know how to do a number of different things well in order to get, results, right? So think about when imagine like when you see like one of those karate movies or something and you see the guy, he's fighting the dude, they're fist fighting, they're doing kicks or whatever. And then the other guy he's fighting grabs like a sword or something, and then he grabs a sword, and then they start fighting with the swords, and then he knocks the sword out of his hand, and he grabs like one of those big staffs or whatever, and then he grabs a staff, and they're fighting with. So it's like you're being versatile with how you're coming at it. Do you understand? So he knows how to use the knife, he knows how to use the the swords or whatever, the staff, the nunchucks, whatever it is, whatever he needs to do to defeat the enemy in order to defeat his opponent and become successful in that situation. So the same thing applies for you in the game, where you have to be able to know how to do a number of different things and know how to come at it a number of different ways, because what's going to happen is you're going to be in a number of different situations, right? And you're going to come across a number of different types of women. You understand? So in order to really, effectively make stuff happen, you have to have a lot of different things in your arsenal in order to, make these things go down, right? So it's very important to be versatile, because I get a lot of dudes, they hit me up and they say, hey, should I just holler at chicks and be direct? Should I just be indirect? Should I say this? Should I come this way? Should I always come that way? And I'm like, listen, you got to know how to do everything, because what's going to happen is that in certain situations, this thing might be best for the situation, and then in other situations, this other thing might be best for the situation. But if you know everything all around, then it's going to be easier for you to make something happen, right? So I just want to, put that out there. Now, the steps you should take when you are assessing the game and really like fine tuning your stuff and everything like that is, one, you have to think back to what happened and figure out what worked and figure out what didn't work, right? So while you're having the interaction with the girls and everything like that, right? I don't want you to think about it at that point, right? I don't want you to be thinking too much while you're talking to a girl, while you're hollering at her, flirting with her. You should be in the moment, right? While you're doing that. But what I want you to do is Once something has worked, once you've seen that something has worked, I want you to sort of look back and figure out what was working for you. And I'm going to get to that in a second. So basically, you got to think back and see what was working, and also in certain situations, you got to think back and see what didn't work. So when things didn't work, right? But what you want to do is you want to be able to see if these things worked or didn't work in a number of different situations. So what I mean is, I don't want you to, approach one girl and then, that thing worked on her, and then say, oh, cool, well, I did that one thing and it worked on her, so that means it works all the time. No. If you do this one thing, right, it should be something you're doing, but you're doing it on a number of different women. There's multiple times you've done it and you've seen that, okay, I usually say this or do this. And when I usually say this or do this, 90% of the time, this works, right? Or I noticed that when I've done this or that, a number of different times, it didn't work. So you have to be able to do certain things and over a period of time to see what's working and what's not working, right? So the thing is, you don't want to just do it once. You want to do something a couple of times to say, okay, well, I notice every time I say this to a girl or I do this to, in this situation, it works out for me. So for example, when you, like, let's say you're saying something like, so what I mean is, I remember what I used to do is I'd be talking to a girl and all this other stuff, be flirting with her and all this other shit. And when I would get really sort of touchy feely with her and I can sort of tell she's feeling me, what I would do is I would say, hey, listen, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want to have sex with me? Right? So I would say this is like the shit that I would say to most chicks, right? When I'm getting real flirty with them or whatever. Right? So when I would say that would lead me into a conversation to really get things going. And then, I end up having sex with this chick. You understand what I'm saying? Taking her home or whatever like that. Right. So what I noticed was that was working when I was getting real like touchy feely and the girl was, flirting hard with me. Like, she, I could tell she was feeling me. So that worked when I was noticing that the girl was like that. Right. But then what I noticed is what happened was I would see a girl and we'll be sort of be flirting, but she's not really like, coming on to me. She's not really going in. And then I would say that same thing. I'd be like, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want to have sex with me, right? And those girls would sort of look at me funny, like, huh? Like, what are you talking about? So it wouldn't work as well on the girls who I wasn't really getting it in with. Or it didn't work as well on the girls who weren't like, the flirting wasn't heavy at that point while I'm in the conversation. So I noticed that. So I said, okay, I notice when the girls are really getting, allowing the situation to get all touchy feely, she's all up on me. When I say this thing, then she's cool with it, and it usually works out. And then I noticed that it didn't work out when I would just be having sort of casual conversation, and I'm not really close or engaging a girl as much. And when I say that, it sort of threw everything off. You understand? So what I'm saying is you have to try certain things. And then, reassess like, okay, I notice when I do this, this is happening. When I notice when I do this, this is happening. And so what I did was, when I'm talking to the girls who weren't really all up on it, I would basically say the same thing, but sort of change the words a little bit. So instead of saying, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want to have sex with me? When I'm just sort of first flirting with the girl, I would say, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how attracted are you to me? You understand? So like, I just switched it up. And I noticed when I switched it up, with those girls who weren't really, in that zone yet, that worked better for those type of girls than just talking about the sex at that moment. Do you understand? So this is what I mean when I say you have to switch it up and you have to be able to sort of see the vibe, what's going on. But the thing is, while I was doing it and while I was talking and while I was, having those conversations, I wasn't really thinking about if it was working or not while I was doing it. I was, basically looking back and seeing after it was done. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, after the girl left or whatever, I was like, yeah, I noticed when I said this, she was acting this way. When I said this, she was acting this way. You understand? So I did it on a number of different occasions to be able to check out if what was happening was working and what was happening wasn't working. You understand? So you really have to be able to, try things out a few times and see what's popping. Also, what you need to do is, when things work and things don't work, what you want to do is you want to also pay attention to how you were feeling at the time. Again, remember, you have to look back and not figure it out in the moment. You got to look back on it. So what I mean by this is how you feel is that usually when you're feeling really good, you're feeling really confident, you're feeling really like you feeling yourself like, yeah, I'm looking good tonight. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. A lot of times you have more success versus when you're not feeling so good, like you're sort of feeling out of it, you're not really in the mood. And then what's going to happen is that you usually will have less success feeling, kind of out of it. You understand what I'm saying? And I've noticed this a lot of, through years of talking to girls and making things happen, right? So the thing is that you have to sort of figure out how you feel. And even if you think back to, when you had success in certain situations and when you didn't have success in certain situations, a lot of times if you actually think back to a time where you met up with a chick or you saw a chick, you was talking to her and everything seemed to flow. A lot of times it was flowing because you were feeling good about yourself. You were feeling confident. You were feeling, in that zone. And a lot of times when shit didn't flow is because you weren't feeling it at that moment. You were sort of out of it. You weren't in that mind frame to make things happen. And the thing is, I noticed this because, again, I was seeing over time in different situations how that applied. So I remember one time I was going to some meetup event and, I was leaving the crib and I was just looking sharp as fuck. I was like, oh my God, I'm looking cool as hell. I was feeling good. I was smelling good. I went up to the spot, I'm talking to the first chick I talked to, we were talking to for maybe about like half an hour, 45 minutes. And then we left the spot and then, we went back to a spot. You understand? And the thing was, I was exuding that confidence and that swag was heavy. You understand what I'm saying? And another time I remember, I even talked about this in my DVD, Manhood in the Game, where back in the days when I used to do my rap music and stuff, I remember I was headlining this show and I was just feeling so good that I was headlining the show. I was feeling myself heavy. And then there was this girl there who basically, she was cute or whatever. She was checking me out and all that. And I was hollering at her and I was just on my A game because I was just feeling so good about myself. And then the same thing happened where that night pulled her, back to the spot and then we made it happen. So I had so many different situations like that where I was feeling good. And then that's what made me be able to, make it happen that way. You understand? But I was thinking back on those situations and I said, what was it that, what was the similarity in those situations that made these things happen? And what I noticed, it was how confident I was in those situations. Then on the flip side, I had situations where, I was out, I was chilling. I'm trying to talk to some chicks. I'm not getting any numbers, and I was just feeling off. I was like, it was times where my mind was somewhere else. I wasn't feeling the vibe. I wasn't really into it. And that was, basically hindering my success. So again, when you look back on what's going on, it's going to give you the knowledge to understand what you need to, do that's working and what you need to do that's not working, right? Another thing you could do, which really helps, and, you need to basically get you a friend who is good also at game. You understand? And go out with him and have him check out what you're doing. You understand? So you can say, listen, we're going to go out, talk to some girls. I just want you to sort of peep what I'm doing and critique me. You understand what I'm saying? Critique how I'm, making shit happen. Because there's certain things that you're doing within that situation that you're not going to be able to notice while you're doing it. And then little like technical things. And it's going to be hard for you to even look back on it and see it because, it's subtle things that you might not even notice. So this is why it's good to have a friend there that can check you out. And this is why even it's good to have a coach. This is why, with me doing the dating coach stuff, that's the point of what I do, in a lot of cases where I have clients and they might not notice that they're doing certain things. And I'm able to pick out and say, okay, I noticed when you're talking to these girls, you got your head down a little bit, you're looking a little little nervous. You understand? And they might not have sort of even realized that in certain cases. Or, you know, I'm like, hey, I noticed that when you're talking to these chicks, you seem like you scared to, touch them or whatever. So, you know, it's certain things that you might not really know that is going to, affect how you make shit happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so again, you know, what I want you guys to understand is, one, you have to be versatile in your game, right? You have to switch it up and try different things, see what's working, see what's not working. You understand? Also, you have to think about what happened when you were doing it, what worked, what didn't work while you were doing it. You have to assess after the fact. And also, you can have a friend who is basically going to critique, you know, what you're doing and can give you some pointers, because they're looking, you know, from the outside in, and they can sort of see things that you probably are not going to be able to see. You feel me? So that's pretty much it. Guys, if you have any questions, click the link below and I will holler at you later. And remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm gone. All right, now before you click off this video, I need you to do 3 quick things. First, I need you to click the link below to send me your questions, because if you have any questions, I'll answer them in a video. 2, click the link under that to get my free ebook, The Magnificent 10 Crucial Dating Tips for Men. It gives you 10 tips on how to attract beautiful women. And number 3, I want you to click the link under that to go to badboymembership.com, where you get 45 through 90-minute audio and video tutorials every month. Hey, what's up? It's dating and life coach Mr. Locario. Go to badboymembership.com and master the dating game by joining my Bad Boy membership program. In this program, you'll receive 45 through 90-minute, easy to follow, step-by-step dating advice tutorials that's guaranteed to help you attract, date, and have sex with beautiful women. Join the Bad Boy membership today by going to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.